Hello, my name is Ian and I'm a tutor on Chegg. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about public goods. However, before we really get into public goods, I'm going to talk to you about the four types of resources so that you can really understand what a public good is. So, if a good is rival in consumption and it is excludable, that means it's a private good. I give you the examples of wheat and cell phones. So wheat would be rival in consumption because they only grow so much wheat a year. Therefore, if a store of any kind that might sell wheat of any variety wants to buy it, then they'll have to contact the seller, but the seller doesn't have to give it to them if they don't pay for it. And if they don't pay for it, then they can't have it, so that what makes it excludable. Similarly, the people that get the wheat first, they will be the ones that can sell it. But if they come too late, then they can't have it, therefore they cannot consume it. Another example would be something like pizza. So if I eat a slice of pizza, you can't have it. If you don't pay for that slice of pizza, you also can't have it. So if a good is non-excludable, but it is rival in consumption, that means it's a common resource. Clean water is my favorite example because you can't exclude people from clean water, especially in first world countries like the United States. However, there is a finite amount of it. In my area, there is a lot of reservoirs, and that's because while we have a reasonable amount of clean water, since we're right on the ocean, we also don't have a extremely large amount of it. So we got to keep those reservoirs going. Non-rival in consumption, but non-excludable, is our public good. So national defense, street cleaning, fireworks, anything where you don't have to pay for it and me enjoying it does not prevent you from enjoying it. So if I want to watch something on one of the various places that you can stream different shows on, then me watching that show and renting it for an hour or a month on my computer does not prevent you from renting that same show for however long you want. Which actually, what I was just explaining was an artificially scarce good, not a public good. So what I just said is artificially scarce. A public good would be more like the street cleaning because you don't pay for it, I don't pay for it. Therefore, we both benefit from the fact that the street is cleaner, but it doesn't take away from me enjoying it, the fact that you're enjoying it. Now, to go back to the artificially scarce goods, I apologize if there's any confusion there. I was looking at that as I was explaining the public goods. That would be something like what I did just say, that if I purchase some video on my computer and rent it for a day or a month, the fact I have to purchase it is what makes it excludable. But the reason why it's non-rival in consumption is the company selling these rented videos or shows can give away as many as they want, and it does not prevent me or you from enjoying that show. So, public goods, they can't be supplied efficiently. Can you take a guess why? It's because of this issue called free riders or freeloaders. So you might be familiar with the idea of rational consumers or rational decisions. If a good is non-excludable, rational consumers will not buy it. And that's because if something is non-excludable, they can't make you not use it. So if there's fireworks going off maybe a mile down the road, and people right in front of the fireworks had to pay $10 to see it, but I'm back at my house looking out my window, they can't stop me from seeing it even though I didn't pay $10, so I would be a free rider there. And I let the people that paid the $10 pay so that I could get that enjoyment. Now, if you have a good that everyone would benefit from, but it's a public good, no one's going to be willing to pay for it because they all think someone else will pay for it. And therefore, since no one is paying for it, the producer won't be willing to supply it. So to understand this, I gave you this scenario below where you're a hairdresser. But another example I like is that you're a wheat farmer. So let's say you grow whatever amount of wheat, it doesn't really matter. And you either have the choice of not growing any wheat at all, or you grow wheat and you give it to anybody in your country who wants it, even if they don't have to pay for it. Most people probably wouldn't pay for it, and you know that, so you most likely would not want to make any wheat at all, nor would anybody else under that condition, because they would be doing so much work and not be getting anything out of it. Which kind of goes on to the idea of what amount of a public good should be provided. And this part is a little harder to understand, so I will try to unravel the wordiness of some of these portions here. And I have it in text, that way you can read it before and then hear it as I go through it. So let's say, as it states, that you are in a country that consists of 3 people, Joe, Alice, and Anita, and they all truthfully tell the government how much they value free-to-air television. So one additional unit of this will be another channel. And in telling the government they're willing, how much they value the free-to-air TV, they're telling the government what their willingness to pay for one additional unit of the public good is. And this corresponds with the idea of individual marginal benefit from one unit of the public good. So I know the word marginal shows up a lot, and when I was first going through my econ class, it was never directly stated what marginal was. It was in a lot of different definitions with marginal. But marginal basically means one. So to go through that last sentence one more time in a little simpler language, it means this goes along with the individual benefit of one more unit of the public good. So how would it benefit you and me if they added one more channel to their free-to-air television? And then, based off this information, the government can analyze it and decide what an effective level of production would be, and they call that marginal social benefit of the good, which is equal to the marginal social cost of producing it. Whoa, that sounds pretty complicated. So what exactly does that mean? Basically, what they're trying to calculate is what the total sum of each person, so Joe, Alice, and Anita, what the social cost and the benefit therefore would be. So if Joe is enjoying the free-to-air channel and Alice and Anita are as well, it'll end up being the sum of all of their willingness to pay for that unit of good if it was made excludable. So that means if Joe and Alice and Anita were told that the free-to-air television is no longer free to air, the marginal social cost is going to be how much they would be charged altogether to access that now excludable good, which is more or less what I'm going through in my last paragraph here. So, in the special case of a public good, the marginal social benefit of an additional unit of the good is equal to the sum of each individual's marginal benefit enjoyed by all consumers of the unit. This basically means that it's the sum of each consumer's willingness to pay for that unit if the good was no longer made public. So, how does that work? If, as stated already a little bit earlier, but reiteration is not a bad thing, if Joe is enjoying a free-to-air channel, it does not prevent Alice or Anita from enjoying a free-to-air channel. Instead, it is Joe's initial marginal benefit, so how much it improves his life or his utility, which is how much he enjoys something, plus Anita and Alice's marginal benefit of one more channel, if the free-to-air television, due to the fact it is non-rival in consumption. So that means, again, Joe enjoying this good does not prevent Alice and Anita from enjoying this good, because it's free to everybody, and whoever has a TV or maybe in a cafe or somewhere public that might be airing the free-to-air television can enjoy the TV just as much as Joe. That is the basics of public goods in a nutshell. If your teacher did not provide you with this graph or chart, whatever you want to call it, it's something I would highly recommend writing down for study purposes because it shows you the relationship between being excludable or non-excludable, and rival in consumption or non-rival in consumption, and the types of goods that go along with it. And also trying to remember why public goods can't be supplied efficiently, which essentially is the free rider problem, as we went over not too long ago. This portion here really, I think, is the hardest one to understand. So if you understand this portion of what a public good is, understanding similar analysis of artificially scarce goods, common resources, and private goods should not be too difficult for you.